Good afternoon. This is Dave Trybula coming to you from headquarters, White Sands Missile Range on Friday, May 1st, 2020 with our COVID-19 updates. To the numbers, New Mexico is reporting 3,513 positive cases of COVID-19, including 830 in the county surrounding Albuquerque, 100 in Santa Fe, 43 in Socorro, 147 in Doña Ana, and 5 in Otero. El Paso is reporting 924 cases, and Juarez 357. Yesterday, I told you that the governor of New Mexico was holding a press conference as we were speaking, and that she was extending her order, and that order is actually slightly changed from a stay-at-home. Effective 1 May, New Mexico is entering a preparation phase for being able to reopen the state and reopen the economy. And that includes opening non-essential retailers for curbside pickup and delivery service, as well as opening state parks on a daily use basis, golf courses for golf only, pet services, and lifting many of the restrictions on medical procedures, but that you need to check with your medical provider on that. The instruction to stay at home still remains in place. However, those other places that I mentioned are still open. Indoor malls, gyms, salons, theaters, casinos remain closed, and mass gatherings continue to be restricted. So El Paso, I was hoping to give you an easy roll-up, just like what I just gave you, and there is a separate public health order that defines the restrictions for every type of business. And so when you're looking for what it is that you want to do based on your locality, you really need to understand what the rules are in the particular place that you're talking about. And I think the governor's actions today really emphasize that, in the fact that conditions may not be the same across the state. And so effective noon today, the governor has essentially locked down Gallup, the city of Gallup, at the request of the outgoing mayor and the incoming mayor, as well as numerous other folks, based on the uncontrolled spread of COVID-19 within the city. And so the state and the National Guard are manning roadblocks on all roads leading into the city of Gallup to prevent that spread moving forward. I think that's important to understand for context on multiple dimensions. So we talked about Gallup, and that's going to make people change their routing when they're coming through from Arizona, going further east, whether that's someplace in New Mexico or much further east. And most of those roads are going to come in the area surrounding White Sands Missile Range. And so I think it's important to understand that the travelers that we may have coming through may be a different set than what we would have had otherwise. And so as we look at places that have been closed that are reopening, I would ask you to really spend a little bit more time thinking about the new situation, if you are actually going to enter into one of those new situations where you're engaging with a service or facility that was not open previously. Think about what you're touching, how you're protecting yourself, how you're mitigating that exposure, not just to yourself, but also as you continue to interact when you return with your family, with your coworkers, and the broader community. And because those conditions are different than what we've become used to over the last 5+ weeks, it requires that thought to make sure that you are actually mitigating the risks that you think are where you're going, because they're not the same risks as what they've been. So again, I would ask that you continue what you've done a great job of doing so far, and that is actively being our first line of defense, because the virus impacts individuals, and so as our first line of self-defense, practicing good personal hygiene, appropriate social distancing, and taking the measures to prevent the spread, you are keeping us safe. Thank you, and we'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon.